Hey folks, Kilt-Man here, Kilt-Man at your post-apocalyptic services. How are you all? Hope you're all doing very, very well. I hope you're all keeping clear of mutants, marauders and maniacs and berserkers and all those kind of crazy miscreants that also dwell in the Wasteland after the big boom of nuclear Armageddon. If you cast your mind back a couple of videos, I did a big review of that book there behind me by Claude Gillard, which is After the World Ends, a chronicle and a study of predominantly the Euro craze for post-Mad Max Escape from New York, rip-off apocalyptic movies from Italy mostly, but other countries got involved as well. And I knew damn well that my good friend Astrodyne, and a great Super Channel contributor, you know him, you love him, he'd sent this to me unexpectedly, but he also knew damn well that it was going to inspire me to do a couple of reviews I hadn't really anticipated. So here we are, embarking on the start of what will be a mini Euro-apocalyptic movie festival. And we're going to hit the ground running-ish, stumbling and falling, with Enzo G Castellari's 1983 dubious classic, The New Barbarians, also known as Warriors of the Wasteland, and very clearly massively inspired by the likes of this guy, Mr. Max. The future does belong to the mad, remember that. The two big films that really inspired all of this genre were Escape from New York from John Carpenter and Mad Max 2. Mad Max, but Mad Max 2 mainly, because Mad Max, the first one, 79, George Miller, it isn't post-apocalyptic, it's society on the verge of breakdown, but it appears to be very quiet, yet slightly revved up breakdown in civilization. But when you go to Mad Max 2, the opening montage, quite clearly, catastrophe, cataclysm, and big mushroom clouds. So, Mad Max 2, The Wasteland, a lone warrior trying to save some good people from some very bad people, and being used, and basically playing the man with no name, playing one tribe off against another, a fistful of dollars, which this film also riffs upon quite spectacularly. Because this, without a doubt, is Mad Max 2 spliced together with irradiated, from the gene pool of mutants and mutations, it's spaghetti western and post-apocalyptic stuff. And Enzo G Castellari, I'm going to have to shorten his name, just call him Enzo from now on. He had done one of my favourite spaghetti westerns ever, which is Keoma with Franco Nero. Wonderful, really surreal and abstract, out there sort of movie, but I love it. He also did The Humanoid with Richard Kiel and that strange little robot dog of his, from the same pack as K9 perhaps. He also did Inglourious Basterds, and Quentin Tarantino loved him that much that he remade, rebooted, reimagined Inglourious Basterds, and even put Enzo in there as some German officer, as a little cameo. Now, Castellari, Enzo, did 3 movies within this genre. He did this, The New Barbarians, aka Warriors of the Wasteland. He also did, because this is the last of the 3 movies that he did in this genre. The first 2 were Bronx Warriors and then Escape from the Bronx, both of which I'm going to cover as well. So I'm kind of doing it in arse about face sort of order, but The New Barbarians from 1983, when this came out, oh my god, I never saw it at the flicks, but I did pick it up very swiftly on home video and thought, what the hell is this dross? This so wants to be Mad Max 2, and yet so horribly isn't. By the way, this is the main theme to this movie, The New Barbarians, by Claudio Simonetti. Claudio Simonetti from Goblin. Yes, he did the score for this movie. And it's okay. I've only got the main theme from him. I'm not going to play the full thing, because it's basically this over and over again, what you just heard. But, oh, speaking of over and over again, whiskey. Can't have too much, can you? Cheers. So, we're after the Big Bang. I think we're after the 3rd nuclear war or something like that. And we're in the future, in the Wasteland, filmed just outside of Rome, mainly in a very sort of Doctor Who, Tom Baker era quarry. Used a hell of a lot in this movie. And some rather strange, dreary country roads in a very flat landscape of meadows and that. And I say dreary, I'm not sure what time of year they filmed this, but it's overcast, it's dull, it's anything but like, wow, an exotic, post-nuclear, irradiated world. No, it's just a dismal, dank, burgeoning downpour sort of landscape. Shifting about very awkwardly there, I do apologise for that. Because it's actually, speaking of weather, we have had so much rain of late that it's actually not raining now, not right now, but it will do again. But when it stops raining, the temperature just goes woof like that. And of course, because it was chilly this morning, I put this on, and now the temperature's gone up. I'm kind of like, sweaty Coo Park. So anyway, during the opening title sequence, which is a bit strange, you've got like the credits are going up the screen, and you've got a little rectangular box in the corner of the screen with a stock model shot of, I don't know if it's meant to be New York or what. It could be, I don't know. But a cityscape. And you've got like, you're looking from over the river at this cityscape. And then suddenly this little, really naff little ball of light goes woo, into the city. And then the whole sky turns blue. And then this really bad visual effect of smoke and smog filters down and covers all the buildings. And well, yeah, it's a rather threadbare depiction of nuclear Armageddon. And then we're up and running. But this is a land of, you've got good people, you've got bad people. The good people seem hell-bent on trying to get radio signals from some other survivors. So our first ragtag bunch, who live in like, all their vehicles are corralled around, and they're on the radio. I've got a signal. It's all dubbed. It's Italian, it's dubbed, of course. And but this doesn't last too long, because these are good people. They are almost immediately annihilated by the bad people, who are the Templars. Yeah, the Templars. Who was a warrior knight order, a brotherhood, who were very, very impassioned and quite ruthless as well. And it's a theme that's run through a lot of Euro horror movies as well, because you've got like Diosorio's Blind Dead series, where the undead, who are blind, are the remnants, the shambling, ruthless, bloodthirsty ghouls who are old Knights Templar. But you've got these Templars, and they are headed up by George Eastman. George Eastman, all 6'9" of him. I love this guy. This guy is a very, very familiar face from Italian cinema. He's done westerns, he's done thrillers, he's done action adventures, he's done tons of horror movies. Anthropophagus and Absurd. Horrible, grim bastard he is when you're in those two movies. And he's the big bad guy here. And his real name is Luigi Montefiore. And he's great. I actually think he's a good actor. And he's a good looking fella as well. It's kind of bizarre that only because of his imposing stature did he end up playing bad guys most of the time. When he's actually got, he's got leading man good looks. Anyway, he's a bad guy in this. And he heads up the Templars. He's known as One. That's his name. One. Because he is the one. The one true light. The one hope. The one faith. And what do they believe in? They're all men as well. They're all men in the Templars. No women. Oh, no. They don't like women. Don't like anyone, really, apart from each other. And their one overriding doctrine is to kill any other survivor. Because mankind destroyed the planet, and now any survivors must face the ultimate price and punishment for the sins that have been committed by mankind. Who gave them the right to, dictate? But, that's the whole point, isn't it? People do rise up and people become despots and tyrants, and they form an army around themselves. How do you get into the ranks of these? Because anyone they encounter, they kill. Quite nastily as well. So, how would anyone... Oh, by the way, I want to join you lot. I believe in what you believe in. So, Is there some kind of initiation? Well, funny you should mention that. But, oh, so George Eastman leads these guys, and so this initial village gets attacked, and they all get wasted. And then into the remnants of all this, you'll find our hero, Scorpion, played by, hang on a second, Timothy Brent. Not his real name. That's his Americanized name. He's really Giancarlo Prete. And he's clearly supposed to be your Mad Max character. He drives around in what looks like a revamped V8 Interceptor with a rather ridiculous new element added to it. I shall show you. Here be a little version of Mad Max's car. See that weird bubble on top? Well, that's what his car has in this movie. Scorpion's car has a bubble. Okay, in this case, it doesn't have a little rubber duck inside there as well, but we won't go into that. That's a little addition I put in there. And you're like, what's this big glass dome on top of his car for? I actually don't even know what it's there for. Except that in the one or two nighttime sequences, because there really aren't that many in this movie, Enzo G Castellari didn't like filming at night, so it's all daylight stuff. But there is a couple of shots of him tooling around in this at night. In fact, this opening scene is at night as well. And that dome, it lights up. It lights up green or something like that. You're like, what the hell? This is a mobile disco. What's going on there? It's a light up goldfish bowl. You know, throughout the film, I long to see him stick his head up and have a look through, but it doesn't do it. Why doesn't he do it? Why is it there? Who knows? All the jalopies and contraptions and vehicles are hysterical. They are clearly golf carts, shopping trolleys, go-karts and stuff like, and dune buggies, which have been put with aluminium foil and extra bars and stuff, and lots of motorbikes. Now, what I will say is that this film has a lot of driving in it, and all your main stars do the driving. Yeah, I know, like Mel Gibson and many of the actors in Mad Max 2 did a lot of their own driving, but predominantly stuntmen. And they were mocked up rigs and vehicles and stuff, but you know that anyway. But it still looks fantastic under George Miller's direction. Well, Enzo G Castellari gets his entire cast to get behind the wheel and thunder over this quarry relentlessly, sometimes overturning, sometimes finding those hidden ramps which we can still plainly see, and leaping over the vehicle ramparts of these little encampments of survivors. And some of these vehicles have got sort of a, what is it? It's Pizza Face in Grease Lightning, the Grease Lightning chase from Grease. They've got little spikes that come out from their wheels and cause damage. They've got revolving drill bits which come out from the hoods of the car to come up behind and do some damage at the rear end of other vehicles. They're all over the show, these things, but they do motivate quite a bit. And you've got this guy's car, Scorpion's car, which is actually quite good, apart from the stupid bloody bubble, which I really don't understand. Plus he has an Aston Martin DB5 Goldfinger style panel at the back, which rises up, which is meant to be like, I think, flame proof and bulletproof. Oh yes, bullets. You will see in this movie M16s, but in that opening battle sequence where this night encampment gets taken out, you've got people there who've got M16s. Everybody, get to your positions, because they're going, it's the Templars, and the Templars are on top of this quarry, the ridge of this quarry. You could spit on them from where they are, and they take half an hour to come down this little windy road, and then ride around the encampment, and then once they've had enough of that, a couple of them realise, oh fuck this, I'm going straight in. Otherwise we're going to be here all day. So they're the ones who go over these hidden ramps and end up getting shot and killed. But get to your positions. You know what to do. It's the Templars. M16s come out. But what are they firing? They're firing. Whatever it does, it goes do 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 do, like some little cartoon ray gun. from Dan Dare. Do 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 do. And you're like, what the fuck? Why's it firing? It was firing laser bolts. Why has it got a magazine involved in it? Like a pulse rifle, this ain't. And there's handguns and all sorts. But the handguns, again, these have variable ammunition, because sometimes they're firing like just like a bullet, and you get a ricochet. Other times, and they're referred to as heat rays, and you just see it like a doo, and you see something go like that. So if someone gets shot with one of these, and chunks of really fake-looking flesh fly off them as the dummy tumbles backwards. And but sometimes they seem to fire just bullets, and it can be armor-piercing, and who knows where they're getting the ammunition from, where they're getting the gasoline, the petrol, the oil from. Never addressed, and yet there's armadas of vehicles. The Templars they seem to, I said before, how do you join the Templars? Well, you never see that happen, but many of them get killed in many different sequences, and yet there's still hundreds more. And even when you see them in their encampment, there's only about 20 of them there, and yet when they go out on the attack, there's fucking hundreds of these people. How do they multiply like that? It's bizarre. This is a film where you have almost relentless action and car chases, and you would think that would be, on some level, quite cathartic and exciting. This is one of the dullest, most boring movies I've ever encountered. Despite frequent violence and bloodletting, and a couple of sexy women in there as well, and some great characters that I actually don't mind watching on screen. These are all the bad guys, and which we'll go into. We'll talk about them properly. But this film, I'm saying right up front, it's on for like 93 minutes, but my God, you feel every minute. And given that it should have all the ingredients of an exciting road movie, an action adventure, why is it so boring? You've got people on these spikes coming out from these vehicles, people getting their heads chopped off, people getting netted, people getting skewered against the quarry wall, people getting shot and blown up, lots of explosive, well, we'll come on to some of the explosions. And so how can it be boring? You've got a former Miss Italy in there, played by Anna Kanakis, playing Alma. Now, she was Miss Italy 1977. She's another on-the-road attack victim of the Templars. But our boy, Scorpion, again, I don't even want to talk about him because he's that bland. You're not even remotely bothered about this guy, and he's our hero. He will save her from the Templars, and even though she's injured, he'll somehow find a way of bedding her that night in some big see-through transparent bubble wrap tent, which he just inflates. It just suddenly appears, and he'll have his way with her. But what's her name again? Anna Kanakis was also married at one point to Claudio Simonetti of Goblin, who's done the soundtrack to this movie. So yeah, I love the thing about like Italian movies. There's a very sort of family appreciation of all the cast and crew. They will be used again and again and again, very like Hammer would do. Now these people go from director to director to different studio to different distributor, but they would all come together, and they became a very regular sort of stock brigade of players, and you'd recognise all the names coming up on the cast lists behind, in front of and behind the camera. So you kind of knew what you're going to get with Italian movies. Now, so let's go on to the bad guys then. Yeah, so you've got one, George Eastman, Luigi Montefiore. All these guys wear hockey armour and hockey pads from Mad Max 2. They've all got studded elbows and knees. Studs and fetish gear is all the rage post-apocalypse. But who costumes them? Where did he go to get this gear from? It doesn't have the look like Mad Max 2 does, of people who were just getting by and fashioning clothes together. Max wears the remnants of his MFP uniform, of course, augmented with a shoulder pad and various other bits and bobs which he's scavenged. But you can quite clearly see that. Also in Mad Max 2, Mel Gibson cut into his own hair to give himself a tufty, sort of shaggy look, because obviously there's no mirrors out there, there's no proper hairdressing equipment, and there's no barber out there. Although on the Lord Humongous and Wes, they have got their own sort of barbers and hairstylists there. Because you see Wes getting his head shaved for his Mohican. You see Mr. Kentucky Fudge is sporting a Mohican right now. Bit more of a festive Christmas time Mohican, but he's having a go at least. Because you've got one of the bad guys called Mako. And Mako, he has a diabolical beard with sort of spikes across, coming up, like stalactites coming up, from his cheeks. Or is it stalagmites? One of the two anyway. And he's got long jet black hair, which is fringed in his Mohican with really deep purple. And his hair is plaited down the back and it's purple interwoven in that. You've got, and he's played by, let's get this, where is he? Massimo Vanni, who was an acclaimed stuntman in Italian cinema. And so that's him. And he's got quite a big role in this movie as well. And he's interesting. And then you've got Shadow, played by Ennio Girolami. And he has long blonde hair, sort of, it's all down like this, but he has a ferociously backcombed tuft here, which then goes all the way back and is done in a Viking braid down the back. It's an unusual look, but at least, I'm saying, like, in Mad Max 2, you see them getting their hair done, but it's mainly being shaved. Who's styling their hair in this? The Templars are all blokes. You might be picking up a few little hints here, but they're all blokes, right? And they're all very fancy with black eyeshadow and all that. And George Eastman, one. Now his hair's kind of just relaxed. It's just a sort of a Beatles bowl head, which has been slightly windswept, but shot through with grey streaks here and there. But again, they all adhere to the shoulder pads, the spikes, and all that kind of stuff. And the petulant leering and pouting that these guys are so prone to do in times of extremis and anger and rage. And there's a bit of a power struggle going on because Mako and his mate kind of want to usurp one and his command, and one with Shadow have command over the Templars. And Shadow, the one with the big mad blonde weird Viking, I don't know, cavalcade of hair, I can't even think of the terms now. They're like blood brothers, they're going to stick together, they will fight together and stick together. But Mako's got other ideas. And they realise, look, you've got Scorpion out there. Scorpion, remember him, he's our Mad Max for this movie. And Scorpion, we find out, was a former Templar, but didn't like their views. Why did he join them in the first place? Didn't like their views, had a duel, which you only hear about in a throwaway line, had a duel with one and beat him and humiliated him. And now he's out patrolling the Wasteland and saving people and just getting by day to day. And so they know he's back on the scene now. So like, all these people got like, what's his name? Scorpion, they're fucking stupid names. Scorpion's out there and they're going to him like, you've got to take him down because he humiliated you. And they say, no one touches him. I'll get my revenge in my own sweet time. I don't know why, but that's the idea. Because Scorpion has saved this girl, the former Miss Italy, and he's found another encampment which is run by a fella called Father Moses, and this guy's got a great name. It's Venantino Venantini. He's been in millions and millions of movies, and he's got one of them dead recognisable faces, and he's got like, I think it's like Swiss camouflage jacket on, but he's a priest. So his flock, this is a much bigger encampment than the one we saw getting massacred at the start of the movie. They're dabbling about with radio transmissions as well. But Scorpion takes Alma to this place to get her patched up, because in her capture and her subsequent rescue by Scorpion, her shoulder's done in. That didn't seem to bother her when she's riding on top of Scorpion, but there you go, And but there's another character we neglected to mention, possibly the best character in it, really, certainly the best actor in it, I suppose. It's Fred Williamson playing the unfortunately named Nadir. Nadir is the worst thing. Oh, it's the absolute nadir of Hollywood. It's the nadir of restaurants. It's political nadir. It means the end. It's just cataclysmic. And he's called Nadir. And he wears the most ridiculous costume. And he has a compound bow with a huge array of various arrowheads. Some explosive, some more explosive, some even more explosive. They've all got blue or red or pink, arrowheads, and he'll select them a couple of times. Now he and Scorpion have a strange relationship, as in Scorpion, who's our hero, keeps getting himself into shite, has to be rescued himself, and it'll always be Nadir who comes to his aid. But Scorpion doesn't seem to like having him around, and yet they clearly are sort of friends. But it's a strange relationship, and I just don't get it. I don't get it at all. But Nadir, Fred Williamson, with his compound bow, will crop up a lot and save the day by taking out Templars left, right, and centre in one crazy, crazy moment. Cheers, y'all. Whilst trying to save Scorpion again, Life Force comes on. It's all apocalyptic movie music I've got here, and there's a guy on a motorbike, helmet on and shoulder pads. These guys all wear white, apart from the leaders of the Templars, who wear black and other darker colours and shades. The rest of them all wear white, which is a nice irony because they're the bad guys, and they could have worn robes or something like that, cowls and hoods, which will look daft on motorbikes, granted. But so he fires an explosive arrow, and this guy's head just goes, blows off. Don't go thinking there's great gore effects in this. There is not. It is shoddy beyond belief. But the headless corpse carries on riding the motorbike for a bit, and you've got Nadir going, as if well, that's a new one, isn't it? And then it tumbles over. But these body parts flying off, of which there's plenty. There's plenty of heads coming off and chests erupting, and huge big flapping bits of hunks of flesh just go tumbling through the air. But heads fire off at 100 miles an hour. Pew! But it's just the complete head. It hasn't gone scanner style and exploded. It just takes off. And you see that kind of thing quite a lot. But these explosive arrows, there's bodies tumbling. They're hitting the crash mats and all that, and they're being springboarded all over the place, flying over bonnets of cars and falling down that bloody quarry ridge again. That quarry, didn't I film a lot in this? What happens when the cars crash and maybe you run out of petrol or something, you blow a gasket? What happens? Well, I'll tell you what Scorpion does. Scorpion goes to a little boy in another corner of the quarry, who's the young mechanic. And he is an instantly recognisable face, and also an instantly irritating voice, because it is Giovanni Frezzo. He was in Lucio Fulci's The House by the Cemetery. Yes, little blonde, toe-faced moppet, Bob. He's not a bad actor. Please don't get this wrong. The little lad is not such a bad actor. He's got an irritating face, but he's dubbed over with in each movie. In this one, House by the Cemetery, and he's in Demons as well. He's at the end of Demons, Lamberto Barber's Demons. When the girl escapes at the end and she gets picked up by some survivors in a jeep, that fucking lad's there as well, and you're like, oh no, it's him again. And he didn't really pursue the acting career into his adult life. He made quite a few of these movies when he was a kid, but he's got this floppy blonde hair and he's got really weird teeth. But he's the mechanic, and he's got a bizarre sort of surrogate father, surrogate son relationship with Scorpion. So Scorpion, when you first meet this lad who's just called the mechanic, Scorpion drives up there, gets out the car, and the bubble V8, and but this lad's, his weapon of choice is a fucking not a slingshot, a catapult. He's quite adept with it, and but we don't know he's a good guy at this stage. So you've got Scorpion rolling around, avoiding these projectiles and firing off his gun, his heat gun. You've seen him shooting people near the start. All these crazy goons get into the massacred campsite and start causing damage to the scavenging. And there's one survivor there who begs to be killed by Scorpion, who's turned up. But Scorpion kills a load of these weird, I don't know, Tusken Raider type things. And they're clearly bullets he's firing, you know. And then this guy begs to be killed. So he puts him out of his misery, kills him. But then you see him, the next scene, he's being fired at by a catapult. And he's diving around all over the place. And he's firing this thing. And the rocks are going into flames and sparks. You're like, what the fuck is he firing there? What ammunition's that? See, none of it's consistent. It makes no sense. But then finally you realise, oh, it's just these two do this all the time. You're getting better. Yeah, you're getting slower. You know, and all this kind of shit, like. So, what's wrong with the car this time? Oh, I don't know. It's just something happened. Have a look under the hood. And the kid goes, I think it's this. It's shite. It's hackneyed shite. But, and he's got like this sort of repair shop, you know, and he's got all equipment there. And he's a bit of an inventor as well, which we'll come on to that as well. But, so clearly there's a bond there. You know, Scorpion, you should settle down. And all this shit, like. So, but Scorpion will meet Alma, and he will meet Nadir, and he will, like Mad Max enters into the Gucci Arabs camp in Mad Max 2, and Pappagallo's the refining station, and you know, and they think, oh, you can lead us, we're going to the promised land and all that, like, but no, you know, good luck, goodbye, I'm off. And then he gets almost killed by Wes and his marauders, the gay boy berserkers. Remember that, because that's another theme which has crept from Mad Max 2 into Enzo G Castellari's opus here. And and he will probably bed Alma one more time, and Nadir meets this other woman in this camp, because Nadir, Fred Williamson, has gone with the girl and Scorpion to this new camp, and they've had to, like, you know, put their hands in the air, like, yeah, we're good guys, and they get taken in there. We'll look after the girl, we'll treat her wounds. By the way, if you want to stay here, the camp is yours. Join us. No, well, I'm not doing that. But Nadir has a reason to stay, because he meets this, what's her name from Flash Gordon? The Sanjay Jones, Dino De Laurenti, Flash Gordon. Oh God, Otti Muti. Oh, I forgot her name now. She's Ming's daughter. Well, there's a Ming's daughter lookalike here who wears sort of see-through plastic stockings. I don't know. And she will bed Nadir. And you get this curious scene where, even though they're mates, Scorpion and Nadir are mates, clearly have got a history together, and Nadir keeps pulling his ass out of the fire. And he doesn't like him doing it, you know. You're not coming with us. I don't need you. You need me. I'm always here for you, and you need me. No, I don't need you. I can do everything myself. No. Well, even if it's this grudging respect thing, you've got this curious scene where Nadir is lying in bed with this woman after a night of passion, and Scorpion just leans around and knocks inside the door frame, and you know, they wake up slowly, and he just stands there for ages and just stares at him, and he goes like, I'm leaving now. And he's like, and Nadir's like, okay, fuck off then. But the scene goes on for like 10 minutes, seemingly, and you're like, why is he just stood there smiling? What? The moment for the joke of like, oh, you've been busy, I see. That was how quick that joke should have been. And then, look, I'm leaving. Good luck to you, but I'm off, all right? End of scene. But it goes on forever. Just don't get it. So off he goes, but he'll be captured. Again, like Max leaving the encampment in Mad Max 2, Scorpion will get captured, because they go after him good style. And he gets, there's a big chase, and it's a bit of a trap as well. You keep seeing the same quarry roadside tracks and trails. And you keep seeing this sort of crossroads in these bleak, horrible meadows of just endlessly flat land under this grubby sky. And you keep seeing that shot all the time, but he speeds away from these guys, and who've managed to put a bomb on the side of his... There's another thing his car can do. See that, right? The driver's side door. Some of these little Templar buggies have got other equipment on them. I think one like throws like this magnetic bomb, a little pink blob. It goes on his door, and he goes, huh, right. He's got a little control pad and goes, hits a button, and it blows his door off. So to get away from an explosive, he uses an explosive to blow the fucking door off, like, you know, because this entire car like pop apart, you know. I want to see the dome flip off, like, but he gets caught. There's an ambush there waiting for him, and one is there, and we meet again, old friend. All this kind of bullshit. And what they do, and this was a sequence, was a cut from the UK and from American prints, only by the distributor, not by any censor that cut it out, but by the distributor themselves. Thinking, oh, this ain't gonna float, you know. But so they capture Scorpion, and you see him, and he's strung up. Another Italian staple of spaghetti westerns, the hero will be captured by the bad guys and usually beaten, tortured, abused, and taken to the brink of death. It happens with Clint Eastwood's character in Fistful of Dollars and in A Few Dollars More, and he goes through hell in the desert in The Good, the Bad and the Ugly. All the heroes go through this odyssey of near death and abuse and humiliation. And Keoma and so many other these characters always go through hell, but they're strung up a lot of the time in the crucifixion sort of pose, and they've got him tied up on this weird fucking contraption of plastic and metal and wires and a winch and a cable, and I don't know how it works. And he's there, and you've already seen this in action before, because, oh yeah, perhaps I should have said Mako. Remember Mako, Massimo Vanni, who's the stuntman, the one who had aspirations of taking over command of the Templars, and him and a couple of his mates, his trusted mates, have gone out there to try and capture Scorpion. This is earlier on, and they fuck it up good style. Cue a really naff chase where our boy gets on top of Christ Almighty, gets on top of Mako's dune buggy. Mako's the one with the big Mohican, and like a shark fin, I suppose. So Mako shark, maybe that's just made the connection there for the first time. Never even realised before, but must be a shark fin on his head. And he's driving his dune buggy. It's just bars, roll bars and stuff. And our boy's on top of it, making a right meal out of trying to hang on and climb up a bit and then stoop down, but do nothing apart from then get kicked onto the bonnet and the hood and hang off for dear life. Just fucking smack the guy. Eventually he will start punching the guy and kicking him around, and they're taking it in turns with their head hanging out the driver's side door, just inches above the stony ground of the quarry. And then finally he'll manage to shove this guy over, and he'll get crunched up under the wheels of his own car. Well, the other couple of guys who were there got killed, but Scorpion, he gets saved as well, but well, you can guess. Nadir happened to be there as well and uses arrows to save the day as well. But they leave one guy alive, who's Mako's mate. Probably more ways than one. And he says to him, like, you take him back to one. That's what I've done. And you tell him it's either a promise or a warning or whatever he says, like, and it takes him back, like. But of course, then you get to see that Mako's body's on like a funeral pyre, which John Eastman will like use his heat ray gun to ignite it and incinerate his body. But it's between these two scaffold things made of plastic and metal and wires and cables. So the body's on fire there, but tied up at the other end, like that, is his mate. Now the body's on fire. I think you're meant to think that he's going to go up in flames as well as a punishment for like going against the orders, because one has said, look, don't go after Scorpion. I'm going to do this my way. I don't need you to do it. But they've got this idea like, well, if we bring him back, we'll win favour with everybody else and we'll take over from one. We'll prove we're more capable. Or whatever. But this guy's strapped up there. He's nowhere near the flames. So what? Why is it? No, one, no, I promise anything. What? Like, what the? What's going to happen to you? So it's the other guy, the one with the big mad sort of fucking ponytail thing and blonde hair dude, that shoots the guy to put him out of his misery. What misery? He's just strung up. So, but he doesn't get told off for breaking the rules. He's all right with it, you know. Anyway, so it's this contraption that you've now got Scorpion attached to, and this is the big controversial scene, and it's a wacky way out there sequence, and you kind of thinking, did you have to do this? Did you have to go there? But it's because they are riffing on Wes and the gay boy berserkers in Mad Max 2. Wes has the arse cut out of his leather pants, and he has his blonde bum chum on the back of his bike who gets the feral kids, whoosh, you know, boomerang in his head. Cheers, y'all. Also, of course, what's his name? Giovanni Frezzo, the little mechanic, the little toe-faced mechanic. He's clearly meant to be a variation on the feral kid from Mad Max 2. Anyway, so our boy's been beaten, obviously, blood down his face and all that, and he's strung up there. And all the rest of the Templars all stood around there, and you've got some strange flashing neon colours going on as well. I don't know where they're coming from, like maybe from his disco car, I can't remember. And George Eastman picks up a crystal dagger, and he's like, you know, my judgment, my ruling, I am the one and only. Not a cue for the song there. And he stabs down, but what he does, he rips through the back of our hero's pants, so his bum is exposed. And you're thinking, uh-oh, you're not, are you? Oh, you are. Oh no. And but it's a sort of winch and pulley operated system. So he's up like that. So the blonde guy with the Viking braid comes up and he starts leaning down on this thing, which obviously changes the rope structure. And suddenly our boy's getting dragged forward, so he's bent over. And then you get this really bizarre male rape sequence, and it is, make no mistake about that, you don't see nothing. Thank God you don't see nothing. But you just see the faces in these flash cuts of all the rest of the Templars and licking their lip. No. And you see the manic look on George Eastman's face, because he can do mad looks, you know, really, really well, and be very frightening. And quite clearly, you know, this deed has taken place. So our hero's been violated and raped. God. So, but just at the end of this sequence, some of the bikers come in, like, because they found the other camp now. They found the camp where Scorpion and Nadir took the injured Alma to. And where Nadir had some fun with the princess Ornella Muti. That's her name, isn't it? Ornella Muti, who played Ming's daughter. It's getting very bright. See, again, the sun's come out again. So we're getting ignited. Or maybe it was a nuclear Armageddon that's gone off that way. So I'll suddenly get blonde streaks in my hair, and I might learn how to drive a car. But so all of a sudden, right, go, like, and this armada takes off because, well, we must kill all of these people again. Is our job never done? Is our day never over? And he says, like, finish him off. When I come back, I want nothing left but pieces of Scorpion. So, and here's another curious bit, right? So what happens here? You see three guys arrive, and our boy's like that, he's still hanging there. Obviously, you know, it's a bit of a sore arse. And they close in on him. And then you cut away to this armada driving down the same fucking quarry roads and that same bloody junction between the meadows again. And they attack this encampment. And this time you don't see all the killings take place. You see the beginning of it all, and then you see the aftermath of it. But in the meantime, Nadir has already bugged out, and he's on another quarry ridge. It's a really horrible location. It really is. It's just quagmires and muddy puddles and rocky roads and paths. It's not comfortable at all, especially when you're being dragged behind a motorbike. Which is what happens to our boy. Why do I keep picking this up and then put it back down again without drinking from it? Because those three blokes that closed in on him when he's hanging there, it cuts back to, it's now date, because that was a nighttime shot. It's now daytime again. And you've got Nadir on this craggy bit, getting his, well, which arrowhead should he use this time? You've got him there. And it suddenly shows these three guys closing in on him again, which they just done at night time, and now we're doing it in the daytime. Are you meant to think that they will have their way with him overnight? Maybe you are. Oh, no, I didn't think about that. Oh, that makes it a million times worse, doesn't it? Because then they start towing him through across all these rocks and these muddy ditches and stuff, and Nadir has to take these guys out and then come and save the day and pick up our hero again, who's battered and abused. And his pants seem to have come back up again. Don't know how that happened. I should say right now that, Giancarlo Prete, or Timothy Brent, who plays Scorpion, was in many movies and TV shows. He was even in Space 1999, but he began as a stuntman. So that's him being dragged behind it. He is doing his own stunts, as is seemingly everybody. I mean, Mako is a stuntman himself, so, you know, in a way, I like that, because this family aspect of Enzo G Castellari and Italian cinema as a whole, okay, you're a stuntman, but I'm going to use you as a character as well. I'm going to let you play a role, and they do that. But then you can do your own stunts and other people's stunts as well. So it's cost cutting, I suppose, but it still works. And this whole family familiarity angle, I really admire about Italian cinema. So anyway, Nadir's rescued him again, but you've got this element, which is, again, it's in the Dollars trilogy, where, especially in A Fistful of Dollars, where Man with No Name has been beaten and abused and really battered, but managed to escape from one of the gangs in the town that he's gone to. Because A Fistful of Dollars is a reworking of Yojimbo, where a lone samurai comes in and plays one gang off against another for his own ends, and will end up winning the day and leaving. But having killed basically everybody. And that, of course, is what Clint Eastwood does in A Fistful of Dollars, which is a remake of Yojimbo. But he will have to go away, and he's been battered, his bones are crushed, you know, he's been really savagely beaten. But you have to try and get his aiming and his draw again. He's got to try and speed up. But of course, under his poncho, what he does as well, when he faces down, is it Indio? It's Indio, played by the great Giancarlo. Oh, I can't believe I forgot his name. He's one of my favourite Italian actors. Folks, there's someone at the door. Just 1 second. Well, we have a mystery gift. That'll be open later. Right, what was I up to? So what he does, because he knows that Indio is a good shot as well, so he wears a great big steel plate under his poncho, and of course Indio's shooting him, and he keeps getting up again. You're a bad shot, Indio. I don't know, I gave him Stallone's lip there, but... So he does something similar. He'll have to be trained up again. How much time has elapsed while he's been retrained, and you've got Nadir trying to make him draw his heat blaster again. Quicker! Quicker! Oh, you've got to face down one. You've got to be quicker than that. But they're at the mechanic's little station, you know, his workshop, and he's been working on something, and he has a great big piece of, looks like perspex, and he encourages Nadir to throw some of his explosive arrowheads at it, which just go, but don't penetrate. So you've got this little elbow-faced little blonde moppet going, and laughing and grinning maniacally behind this thing. Throw another one. You're like, all right, son, all right, yeah. So, all of One and his Templars have been at this other encampment and killed everybody, except for Father Moses. Remember him? I did mention him. He doesn't do much. They've got Olma, again, who is really, really attractive. We should have said this. She is absolutely jaw-droppingly gorgeous. But she's barely in the bloody movie, to be perfectly honest with you. But she is so strikingly attractive. And there's no way of getting around it. She was Miss Italy. Fucking God, too right she was. And so a few of the survivors have been rounded up and they've been put against the back of a school bus or something like, and they're going to massacre them there. Now, so they've killed everybody else. There's bodies everywhere, like, and this is a much bigger encampment than the one we saw at the start of the movie. There's bodies everywhere, and they line up all these people, and they're going to kill them one by one. But they have a big mantra, a big speech first as to why they're doing it, because you are the last remnants of mankind which destroyed the planet, so we don't trust you. Well, what are you then? What are you and your lot doing then? Because you're still remnants of mankind, aren't you? Yeah, doesn't make any sense. But now you've got Scorpion's back, Nadir is back, and they've brought the little towhead. They brought the mechanic with his catapult. So they all start taking people down left, right and centre, but One and Shadow managed to kill a load of these innocent bastards, like including the priest, the preacher, Father Moses, and his son, and they're going to kill everybody else. But suddenly explosions are going off, bodies are flying through the air all over the place. All these motorcycle wearing, they're all in white. It looks kind of crazy, but they're all flying through the air on fire and all sorts. And Nadir and the little lad kill hundreds. Scorpion, what does he do? What has Scorpion actually done in this entire movie? Yes, he rescued the girl. Yes, he put an injured man out of his misery. But he then gets caught and trapped several times and has to be rescued and then nursed back to health during this endless night, where they've been taking everyone in the encampment apart. Suddenly he's learned how to draw a gun fast again, and he's wearing a sackcloth poncho. And you see him sort of like, when he goes, Scorpion, and like George Eastman's like, didn't I have you last night? He's like, it's like sting in the tail. Wasn't there the opportunity for a great stinger of a line, like, oh, there's a sting in the tail for you, Scorpion. No, I'm not going to go any further into that, if you know what I mean. And but you see him silhouetted. Well, he's behind like flames, so he's kind of shimmering, and he's got this sackcloth poncho on, and quite clearly he's got something underneath that. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. And what happens, you've got like heat blasts, he's going, but he's getting up again. And Eastman's like, well, One is just like, what? How's this that? How can this be? And they have this duel, which is really shit. And what happens is, Scorpion will throw back the sackcloth poncho to reveal totally transparent plastic body armour, and he's got nothing underneath it. So his little nipples are out, and it's the size and build of Arnold Schwarzenegger as Conan, but it's like he's dressed in bubble wrap armour, and he looks fucking ridiculous. It is. You just go, why couldn't they have just used like that lad? Because it was clear sort of perspex, which is what he's made this body armour out of. Couldn't you just look? It's black, it's coloured black, and it withstands the heat blasts and what have you, the arrows and the guns. And then, so when he makes it, it's like black body armour. It's see-through. It's fucking, I can't overemphasize this enough. It's see-through. It looks ridiculous. How can you be a hero standing there in bubble wrap? What a knobhead. So anyway, they have a duel. It's they're stalking each other through all the wreckage of this encampment. And it could, again, it's got a kind of factory element to it, and refineries and stuff. It's a much bigger complex. But one gets away. Ta-da! He gets away. Gets in his little buggy. Oh, he fucks off, doesn't he? In the meantime, Nadir and the kid have killed everybody else. And I do think, if I remember rightly, Scorpion does kill Shadow. He manages to shoot through, because he ends up having a duel with him as well. But don't get excited by this, because there's no payoff really. And he just fucking shoots through a hole and in some blast shield. And another thing about some of the gore effects, you've had the heads coming off and you had people's chesty bits flying off in big welters. But there's also people getting shot in the face, and all it is, you hear like pew, these weird noises, pew, pew, and as soon as they go like that, and they put the hand away, and there's like a bit of salami just glued to their face. They go no fucking hole. It's like a ration of bacon. It's been stuck on the side of the face. So that's one of the big bad guys, Shadow. That's what he gets. Fuck off, pepperoni. It's just. So anyway, everyone else has been killed. All the bad guys dead, but one is still out there. So our boy gets in his car, which has now been revamped again. Not only did the mechanic give him this bubble wrap armor, but he's put this fucking huge drill bit under the hood of the car. So, and we're playing Mad Max 2 here, appropriately enough. So you get like, it's almost like a bit more like Mad Max, the first one, where Max is going after the toe cutter at the end, and he comes up behind him and then basically drives him into an oncoming truck. Well, that's not quite what happens here, because he can go faster than one can. He catches up with him dead easy. It starts butting. Oh, I suppose it's it's poetic, this, because what he does, he's butting the rear end of one, and one's like and then this drill bit comes out, and you guessed it, but you don't see it. This is an Italian movie from 1983 with uber violence and killings aplenty, and they wimp out and don't show the drill bit going through one who's driving like that. Why didn't you see that? You do see his face going, but it's over within a second. And then he drives into the quarry wall. They're actually on that road with the meadows either side. And then suddenly, after go, there's a quarry wall there. Boom ski. So the film then ends with Nadir and the little lad sort of like, they do the thing, and Nadir goes off with the woman, I think he does, or Nella Muti, I think. I don't know, I don't care. And you've got Scorpion with Ulma, and because Ulma doesn't wear a lot in this movie, but she's a slave to some bits of weird 80s kinky fashions as well, but with just little slinky belts and kind of strange lilac-y purple thigh-length leather boots on. But she does look good. She looks amazing actually. And she's there, and Scorpion's there, still in his bubble armor, looking like a right twat. He's still there, and the little lad comes up and he sees them hold hands, and I think they hold hands, but definitely exchanging one of those looks of the look of love. And he starts going laughing like a gimp, and but he comes over and he takes the hand of Scorpion. So you've now got the new post-nuclear family. You've got Scorpion, you've got Ulma, and you've got fucking elbow face, little zombie tooth, little strange brat. And off they go into the wild blue irradiated yonder. Folks, the new Barbarians. It's a clunker. You know what, it's more fun talking about it than watching it. Because even though I've done it in a massively disjointed fashion, I've actually enjoyed and had a laugh discussing it. You don't get that while the film's on. The film has endless chases and actions and set pieces. It is a fast-paced, dynamic movie. So how could it be so boring? You are clock watching, and you're just thinking, how much more this is to go? Because you're using the same locations, the same stuff, and you're going through the same motions all over and over again. And Scorpion is not a hero that you can, I was going to say you can't back him, but one certainly backed him a fair bit. He's not a hero you can get behind. Help me. Oh, I'm stuck in a rut with this. He's not your likeable hero. And I've looked at images of this guy in other movies and he looks completely different. In this, they've given him tuftier hair. I said about Mel Gibson playing Mad Max in Mad Max 2, cutting his own hair and having little tufts here, there, and his little blonde streak, which I used to sport all the time because I looked so fucking good. And so he's got kind of bushier, curlier hair. But you know what he looks like in this movie? Those of you of a certain age will remember a American TV show called Petrocelli. It's in the 70s. And Petrocelli, I forgot the guy's name, I think it was Barry something. He played a lawyer, a solicitor, who was also, like Quincy, he went beyond the remits of his own job description and solved crimes and did all sorts of other stuff, a bit of action adventure. But it's famous for him, I think he lived just outside of LA and he was building his own house. He was like a divorcee or something, but he spent at the beginning and end of every episode, you'd see him on the roof banging rafters in and roofing panels, and he'd never finished his house, never. Well, that guy looks just like Scorpion, or Scorpion looks just like him. But he's otherwise completely bland, and you really just don't give two shits about him, because his motivations are so bizarre. He saves the girl, and he gets saved repeatedly by Nadir, and yet always turns his back on Nadir. Oh God, I don't believe him doing it again. He turns his back on Nadir every time. And yet without Nadir, he wouldn't survive. He'd have been dead 10 times over. And you get that, the crazy attitude. There's actually a line which Fred Williamson says, about those crazy queers, meaning the Templars. So you can see quite clearly where they took, well, for Mad Max 2, we want the post-nuclear, post-apocalyptic world. We've got a hero in an interceptor type car. We've got different settlements who are trying to just survive, and he'll stumble into their environment and try and save them. But he's basically a loner, and you've got like a warlord and his army of goons who are also, I don't know, sexual deviants, and that's not me incriminating, gay people. Just gotta, put that caveat in there. But clearly at the time, it was meant to be sort of a shocking moment. It is a shocking moment. It's not explicit. Don't go thinking that. It's not explicit, but it's quite clear what's happening. And you're like, oh my God. The very fact that the distributor cut that entire sequence out of the UK print and the US print showed you that they knew, gonna have a problem with this. Of course, it's fully uncut now. But besides that, don't go expecting lots and lots of gore. There is heads coming off, there's people exploding, but the effects are so bad. I think this is a film where you've got to be pissed to watch it. And actually, well, I just watched it recently for the sake of this, and I wasn't pissed, so maybe that was my mistake. Because I think you could probably have a great time with it if you're completely and utterly toasted. You could probably really enjoy it. Cheers, you all. I think Castellari made 2 better films before this, which was The Bronx Warriors and Escape from the Bronx. Now those ones, although Mad Max, the influence is there, they are more massively inspired by Escape from New York and Snake Plissken. Massively so. So, and also The Warriors as well. Let's not forget that, The Warriors as well, from Walter Hill. And a lot more fun to be had with those movies. The New Barbarians is a dizzy clusterfuck of car wrecks, really bad jalopies, incredibly wild hairdos, ultra naff dialogue and really bad effects. But it has got a huge cult following. It has got a fan base, and I do like the director. So, you know, everyone's entitled to a misstep now and again. There's that sun coming out again. God, it was so bleak before. Oh, interiors. There were some interiors that were shot in studio. But it's made. One thing you should praise it for, I suppose, is that it is shot 99% on location. And this, whatever this place is, this quarry just outside of Rome. But my God, continuity's naff. One minute they're on there's a meadow either side and a long open stretch of road, and then in a split second during an action scene they're on top of a quarry again, like, and then you're back on the open road. It's just, what are you on about? Stunt wise, there's people flying through the air. Everyone's driving their own vehicles, and you see it quite clearly. But the use of dummies is shockingly obvious, really obvious. But you know, they're not going to throw real people under the wheels, are they? Well, I mean, let's face it, people almost died on a set of Mad Max 2, and even Mad Max. So, but yeah, I like the fact that it reminds me a little bit of Doctor Who with the quarry sequences. But the plagiarism of Mad Max 2 is... I remember at the time when I first watched the new Barbarians, and it annoyed me because I thought, I didn't realise, I was only young at the time, like, well, about 12, 13, but I'd seen a lot of Italian movies. I'd seen Zombie Flesh Eaters. I understood Italians would rip off other people, but the likes of Zombie Flesh Eaters and Lucio Fulci's movies were a breed apart. And I love the spaghetti westerns, which are riffing on samurai movies and of course the American western. I understood that, and their whole thing about the whole Dirty Harry, the Poliziano movies, where you have like a magnum-toting detective who stop at nothing, and an ultra right wing. It was pure Dirty Harry rip-off. I got that because he went off on their own different tangents. But this is so clearly ripping off Mad Max 2 that when I first saw it, I was like, oh dear God, because Mad Max 2 remains one of my all-time favourite movies. As you know, I've discussed it so many times, and I took real personal umbrage with this movie. But now, in the mellowing of my years, it's just fucking stupid. I don't mind that they do that. I don't mind that now. This was an era where the Italians just took on every concept which was making money. Well, let's do our own. Do it cheaper, do it quicker, and we'll make more money, we'll make more profit. And it worked. It bloody well worked. Castellari also did The Last Shark, which Universal took him to court over. This was 1976 or 77, so a couple of years after Jaws came out, and they got their film The Last Shark made about a great white shark terrorising a coastal resort, and yeah, they got massively done, and the film had to be pulled from cinemas. They got massively sued. So that shows you the extent and how obvious and overt they were. This is from what's it called? Oh God. Oh, what's that zombie film where they're not zombies? Not Generation X. Oh, with Brad Pitt, and they totally refilmed the ending, and they filmed it after the original big overblown ending in Russia. They went to Wales and filmed it Doctor Who style with Peter Capaldi, who played Doctor Who in Wales for a really low-key finale. What's it called? World War Z or World War Z, depending on where you happen to be. That's a great track by Marco Beltrami there. So anyway, folks, there you go. That was the new Barbarians. And I know this was a rambling sort of review, and definitely not the sort of style I like to keep to. But this video was meant to come out yesterday, and just tons of stuff happened. Yeah, that real life stuff gets in the way of all the things you want to do. So And I thought, today's going to be even worse, because I've got loads of stuff lined up as well today, which I can't avoid. So I thought, I'm gonna throw this in, and we get the postman banging on the portcullis. Where are my servants? Every time there's a delivery, the servants are always nowhere to be found. I know, they're obviously still cleaning up all the bodies from last night's debauchery. Sorry. Dawn of the Dead. Goblin did the score for this. Claudio Simonetti. And yeah. I can't think of anything else to say about New Barbarians. I really can't. I've done an hour and 10 minutes on a film which pretty much no one really cares about, apart from that fraternity that love films that are so bad they're great. Which this film, let me just end on this. This film is not catastrophically inept. I like the characters, and I think people, certainly George Eastman and Mako and Shadow, are great. They're great to watch. It's the good guys who are boring. Fred Williamson gives a touch of, I don't know, a bit of sass to it, like a bit of streetwise, which is why he's in these movies. He gives that kind of quality, and he's also in Bronx Warriors as well. So he loves this genre. He did a few of these movies, so, but he adds a touch of, I don't know, cool violence to it, and you like him. And there's a couple of sexy broads in it as well, but there you go. It's just a heroes crap. Your heroes, when your heroes the least compelling elements of a movie, what are you meant to do? Villains are always the more interesting, because they've got, an actor wants to play the bad guy because you can do more with it. You can break all the rules, you can be really OTT, or you can be subtle, but you can be aggressive, you can be sinister, suave, yet, malevolent. You can do a lot with the bad guys. The heroes, it's a lot harder to do it with. They're either whiter than white, holier than thou. They're haunted, they're quiet, they're men of few words. So they can't even get their teeth into any juicy dialogue. And this guy fucking doesn't at all. I can't think of any line he comes out with now, thinking about it. Not one. Not even, ooh, ow! Which you would have thought. Folks, I've been always Shabby Kilt-Man. Please, in the meantime, in this ever post-apocalyptic, quarry-filled in-between time, please keep it Kilty, keep it Celtic. I'm going to see you all later with the Bronx Warriors, perhaps. Who knows?